Cut the music. Welcome back to Let the Boys Watch, an entertainment podcast brought to you by Going Great Productions. This is the final episode of our recap of the Succession show series, the entire series. As Ryan so eloquently labeled it, this is the Plummies, our final show about Succession, and we are going to talk about Succession and hand out a couple of awards. Alongside me is a man who coined the phrase, "We hear you." Cousin Benny, how you doing?
Happy to be here, guys. It's a beautiful night. The stars are out.
Oh my goodness. Stars are freaking blinging. And alongside us is another man who created the All Bangers All the Time playlist, one of our co-hosts, and a fantastic sharp-dressed man, Ryan.
Thank you, Robbie. And I am so happy that the camera only catches from this up because I have a raging boner with that fucking turtleneck blazer combo you got going on.
Well, thank you, because I have an oxygen tank ready and waiting because the circulation to my neck is getting cut off as we speak.
I love it. It's like being very slowly choked.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, welcome to Let the Boys Watch. We are recapping and handing out awards for Succession season 4 and for the entire series. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed listening to us three morons talk about Succession. I think the plan moving forward is to talk about some movies. We'll get to that maybe a little later, but don't want to make you wait too long to hear about it. I think we're going to start with talking about a couple emails we got, which if you haven't emailed us or haven't in a while, please send us your movie recommendations. Send us anything. LTBW pod at gmail.com.
LTBW podcast
Damn
at
it.
gmail.com.
It's in the show notes, so who gives a shit? Follow us on Instagram, Let the Boys Watch Pod at Instagram. That's also in the show notes. And rate us, follow us, all that bullshit helps us get a sponsor. Hopefully, maybe we'll look even better for the next award show. Maybe Hugo Boss can sponsor us for the next Plummies. I did read that Connor's tuxedo was Hugo Boss in his wedding, so that's
let me tell you a little something about the suit that I wore at my wedding.
Oh,
it was a Hugo Boss suit. So
this
you know what?
guy,
without even realizing it, I am truly the head of the con heads.
Yeah, apparently.
Spoiler alert.
Yes.
Hugo Boss, designer of what uniform?
Well, let's not talk about
it. Wait, tell me.
I think we'll be canceled.
All right. Well,
that's World War II.
Oh, really?
He's a very famous German guy.
Oh my God. Fuck him then.
Yeah. I didn't know that until my wedding day.
Oh, all right. Well, anyway.
Edit it out. Edit it out.
Didn't anticipate that at the beginning of the show.
And that's why you listen. That's why you listen to the pod.
That's right. So I think we should start off with maybe, how are we feeling a week out? So, we got our impressions on the series finale last week. But are you still thinking about the show? How do you feel? Benny, let's start with you. What are you thinking a week removed from the series finale?
You know what hits hardest for me is that fight scene at the end of the last episode. I've been thinking about that like over and over and over again, just how good it was and how it was the perfect culmination of everything, about how Kendall, I was listening to the podcast last week and how Anthony mentioned that that's Kendall at his most desperate, and that's where you truly see who Kendall was. And I mean, that's just been my takeaway from that episode. I really do, a week out, love how they ended the show. We spoke about if I wanted to, extend out to a movie or a spinoff or anything like that. I'm just so content with the way that it ended. And I couldn't be happier with it.
Robbie, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Still thinking about it. I know me and you talked about a little bit on our podcast. I like I said in the beginning, last week's episode and on the Going Great podcast, I'm so conditioned for Hollywood endings and fairy tale endings that I thought that it was going to be, you know, a happy ending. And like this show never gave us that in all 4 seasons. So I was kind of, upset in the beginning and when it first ended, maybe because my anxiety was through the roof. But as I as I watched it a second time and as I, listened to various podcasts, I'm so happy with the way it ended. I even told you that this might have been my number one show, but I'm very happy with the way it ended. Like Benny said, I don't want a spinoff or I don't want a movie 5 years down the road. I think it's perfectly fine the way it ended. And yeah, I'm happy. Still thinking about it, still watching a few episodes here and there. So I love it and I'm happy.
Nice. Well, other than talking about it with you on the Going Great podcast, I have not thought about it at all. So
Really?
not really. I mean, other than getting ready for this show, um, nah, it is out of my brain. I'm done with Succession. Like I said, whenever I will never rewatch this show. Like, there's
Honest,
no point.
I'm thinking about starting to rewatch, man. I was
Yeah,
watching it
crazy.
in preparation for this. I was going through like trying to find some best of videos on Instagram just to like refresh some things in my mind about
Uh-huh.
like plot lines of previous seasons. And one of my favorite things about a TV show, especially when it goes on for more than a few seasons, is when you go back and watch those first episodes with how those characters ended
Right.
and just like how differently they played, how they evolved, and all that kind of stuff. And just seeing like the season one, season two stuff from, I think Roman stands out to me the most
Yeah.
with like how he kind of evolved and became snarkier and just different overall. It made me want to fire up the pilot and just get going again.
Do we know? I don't know if you guys have read anything or even the creators said something. Was this show completely mapped out like seasons one through what do we do? Four? So
Mhm.
like was the whole storyline like mapped out or did things change and evolve like as the seasons go on? Do we know that? I don't know.
I don't know how mapped out it was from the beginning. I mean, I know it definitely wasn't maybe past the first few episodes because in the first episode Roman is married, and I'll put quotations around that, like
Right.
they never say it but it's like kind of
Implied.
implied.
Well,
So
isn't it implied that he either it's his kid or like his step kid or something?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it, when I listen to a lot of Vince Gilligan podcasts about Breaking Bad, he
Uh-huh.
always talks about how much credit he got for like he played the long game, but he was always constantly trying to go back and like retrofit things to kind of make sense. So I feel like this is the same way. Maybe in broad strokes, they knew how it would end, but to the level of meticulously knowing each beat and each storyline, I think that they built it on the fly, kind of.
Okay, because I was just thinking like you were saying like seeing how Roman was or seeing how other characters are, and I feel like there's good and bad for both when a character knows the end game for their character and can play to that a little bit, like so you don't realize like they're either have a look on their face or say a specific thing a certain way. I mean, I don't think that Succession did that, but it was just making me think like I don't know. I like
Yeah. Well,
that.
I
as
do
far
think,
as go ahead, Rob.
oh, so I do think the only thing that was changed on the fly, I think Brian Cox was supposed to die in the first season, but I think that they saw what they had there and they just continued kind of like Jesse Pinkman and Aaron Paul in the first season of Breaking Bad. So that's the only thing I think. I don't know if it was completely mapped out, like where they were going to have Tom, all along become the CEO. But
Right.
yeah, I'm not really sure.
Okay. Well, either way, just something I was thinking out loud. I apologize for taking us off track a little bit.
Oh, this is
Um,
what the Plummies are for.
that's right. Just tangents, tangents, tangents.
Oh, before we get into the emails, do
Please.
we? I know we talked about this offline because you're too online. Um, do we want to talk about who we're wearing and where we're going? I guess.
Sure, we
I'll,
can. Or
I'll
should
go
we wait
first.
for the red carpet or
Yeah, we can wait for the record. We'll get the emails out of the way, maybe some
Oh yeah, that's right. I
discussions, and
forgot.
then
Get
Yeah,
the
we'll get
emails
the
out of the way.
pre-show. We'll do that during the pre-show. We'll have E-News is coming. They're gonna knock on your door, Robbie, and
they're
let
setting up.
themselves in. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
setting up.
I think Billy Porter's at the door. So Billy, come on in.
Yeah, come on in. So we got 2 emails. Benny, would you like to read the one from Aya first? Or
Sure. Yeah, I will.
please.
So the subject of the email is "Let Benny Watch," and she says, "Hello. Here are some movies Benny confirmed he has not seen, and could potentially be really interesting to talk about." So
Before
I'm
you
very
start this list, Benny,
yeah. I was gonna say, go ahead.
I just want to warn the audience that this list is absurd.
Yeah,
Absurd.
and that's what I wanted to say. I mean, that this was kind of the idea of starting this podcast in the first place, is
Right.
the amount of movies I haven't seen, and some of the movie, and in juxtaposition of some of the movies I have seen, is kind of wild. So, I only want to read this on the air because I do want the shock value for some people. So
Please.
here we go. And this is just obviously a small sample size. Haven't seen Hook, Batman
Banger.
Forever, Saving Private Ryan, Dunkirk, Gangs of New York, Kingsman: The Secret Service, Baby Driver, The Usual Suspects, Almost Famous, The Fifth Element, Babe, and The Mummy. Now, that's a good list, and I could potentially see a lot of podcasts coming from that list. So, Ryan, I saw you out of the corner of my eye shaking your head the
It's
whole
just
time.
some of those. Listen, I get like maybe Dunkirk, like that's fairly new. Babe, when that came out, we were, a little bit older. Like we probably would have thought it was stupid, but like Saving Private Ryan, Hook, especially Batman Forever, like some of these movies are like, I mean, Fifth Element's like maybe one of my favorite movies of all time. Same with Almost Famous, uh, Baby Driver. They're all amazing movies. And it's just shocking to me, like, I don't know if it's because I was a loser and just watched movies all the time, or if you're a loser and didn't watch movies. Like, what's worse?
I'm gonna err on the side of I was the loser, and you know I've probably watched about 150 Met games every year that I can kind of remember being able to turn the channel on my TV. So I
Right.
feel like that ate up a lot of my TV watching time when I was younger.
What a
Between
waste.
yeah, between that, playing sports,
Right.
and then as I got older, like actually
Did
having
you?
friends and going outside. My TV time was limited, and what I did watch was either a Met game, Sports Center. I feel like, when I was really heavy into football and basketball, I was always watching that. And then like Seinfeld
Right.
and video games. There's like, so I feel like I had my routines and the things that I like to do, and movies just never were a big part of it.
Right. Robbie, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I will go through the list, and I have not seen Hook.
So that's crazy.
I have not seen. I have not seen Dunkirk. I have not seen Gangs of New York, Kingsman: The Secret Service, Almost Famous, The Fifth Element, Babe, and The Mummy. I have not seen any of them,
Wowza.
and many more, and many, many more.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
Robbie,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
man. No, go.
I was gonna say, so like that was kind of my story on like why I'm like so movie deficient. What are your thoughts on like, because you seem like to have a list like me. Where do you think How do you think that happened for you?
I think the same thing with you. A lot of being outside, a lot of playing sports, a lot of watching sports, um, a lot of Sports Center. Um, anytime I can watch sports games, I would. Yeah, I never really sat down and watched movies. I don't know if that's my OCD or I don't know. I just like the same things with cartoons. I never watched any cartoons growing up. Um, yeah, just not a lot of movies. I kind of just stick to what I like and kind of get bored easily. So if something doesn't interest me, I'm not going to watch it. But I mean, some of these movies are great, and I just feel like for like a 20-year period, I just didn't watch any movies at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, a lot of these films are newer. They're not from our childhood. Really, the only So like I'd say Babe is like, I don't know, mid 90s. Hook is like 90, early to mid 90s, something like that. Batman Forever, similar 90s. The rest of them are all either late 90s or in the 2000s. Um, so like it was more when we were teenagers, 20s. So probably similar. Like instead of watching movies, you were playing video games or watching sports or going out with your friends or whatever. Whereas plenty of times, like, but that was my thing. Like if I was relaxing at home, I'd watch movies.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do.
I think too, as I got older, I did get involved with like watching TV shows and stuff. I kind of grew up in, I don't want to like date myself or sound younger than I am, but like that prestige TV era where like HBO shows were, slammers, and
Right.
those are the ones that you got into. And I love the long-term storytelling, the way the characters develop, and something to me, there's something about a movie only being 2 hours that I feel like I have so many more questions, and there's more things that I wish that they expounded on that kind of like turn me off to movies a little bit.
And also too, like back when some of these movies came out, I mean, there wasn't streaming. So you have to pick your ass up and go to freaking Blockbuster or you have to buy it. I mean, now it's a lot easier, but I felt like back, I'm not trying to, make excuses, but it was a little different as it is now. And then, like Benny said, these movies come and go, and then, but you're not really paying attention to them because now you got, HBO shows. Now you got Breaking Bad, you got your Game of Thrones, Sopranos, and you're just focused on watching that. And that takes up most of your time. And then, as you get older, you're going out on the weekends and you really don't have, you working and you really don't have that time. But now it's streaming, it's a lot easier, but still, I still don't even fucking do it. So, I mean, who knows? They don't just
this
blowing
is
smoke out of my ass.
this is gonna force us to. That's what I like about it.
I know
Yeah, me
it's gonna
too.
definitely. It wouldn't. I probably wouldn't watch most of these movies, but now that we have this and it's kind of forcing us to, I'm kind of excited.
So of this list, is there any that stick out that you're like, oh, I've always wanted to watch that?
Right, that the ones that pop for me are Saving Private Ryan,
Okay.
Gangs in New York,
Yep.
and honestly, maybe Baby Driver, just because I has talked about it so much.
Love
So
Baby
those,
Driver.
yeah, on this list, those are the ones for me.
Baby Driver is great.
Yeah. That's probably Robbie, you probably love that because music's integral to that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. It's the music is great. I love that.
Do you say integral or integral?
I think I say integral.
Benny?
I say integral.
All right, whatever. All right.
I don't
So
know. I'm not gonna knock anybody for saying integral.
no. I don't know. I just said it and I was
I
like,
might
wait,
kick him off the podcast, but
Yeah, Benny,
fine, watch your own fucking movies. I've seen them already.
Benny, I can't believe you didn't see Saving Private Ryan because there's a guy in that movie who I really think is a great actor, Barry Pepper. I don't know if you ever saw. I don't know if you ever saw Barry Pepper.
He's great.
No, what is he? Has he been in anything else?
Well, he's been in Saving Private Ryan. He's been in
Nice.
25th Hour, Spike Lee joint, but
Seen
he's been in
that.
this really. I know you like baseball, Benny. I know you're a big
I
baseball
love
guy,
it.
but there's this movie that he's in called 61.
What? What
Yes,
movie is this?
I think no. Billy Crystal directed that, right?
Billy Crystal, Long Island's own
What?
Billy Crystal.
Yeah.
Stay with me, Ryan and Benny, because I know you guys if you haven't seen it, but Barry Pepper plays Roger Maris.
Oh, that's Barry Pepper.
Wow.
Yes, that's Barry
Okay.
Pepper.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's fantastic.
fantastic in that movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, have you
And
seen?
no, I've
Oh,
never heard of it until just right now. And I've
well,
seen all the movies.
well, it's based in the year 1961. The Yankees,
Wow.
him and Mickey Mantle are on a home run race, trying to break Babe Ruth's home run record of 61 home runs.
Wow. Wait, 61 in 61?
Tell me
Crazy,
about
right?
it. Tell me about it.
That's awesome.
It's almost like you couldn't even write a script better than
I
what
was
played
gonna
out.
say, if it
Wow.
wasn't based on a true story, I would have been taken right out of the whole thing.
No, me either. And
Maybe we should add it to the list.
totally. We should have baseball week presented by Major League Dicks.
Wait, so have either one of you actually seen 61?
I have
Yeah.
like multiple times.
Yeah, tons of times.
Great film.
It is a great film.
It is pretty good.
So Yeah, so we definitely um have a lot of options. I think we can probably start with this list. We have another email that we'll talk about, but we definitely want to hear from you. If there's movies that you absolutely love, and you every time someone says to you, "What's your favorite movie?" But don't tell us Shawshank because we've all seen. Wait, you guys have all seen Shawshank, right? You've
No.
never seen Shawshank? What the
Oh,
fuck?
no, that's fucking insane.
No, I haven't seen it.
I fucking quit. All right, well,
That's
That's
what's gonna
Shawshank
make
just
this
got
podcast lasting for years, babe.
this that just got bumped to the top of the list.
I
Holy,
thought I thought that Saving Private Ryan was bad.
I'm telling you.
I can't believe that.
That's like my party trick. If I ever am lost for a conversation, I could just be like, you know what movie I've never seen? Shawshank Redemption.
It's like 5 hours and a party gone. There you go.
And the other movie I haven't seen was Schindler's List because I was busy making out the whole time.
wow!
Oh, I see.
What are you, Elaine?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was Jerry. That was Jerry.
Yeah.
Are you sure you weren't watching fucking Schindler's Fist?
I watched Schindler's Fist and Ryan's Privates. It was a
Oh my
double feature.
goodness, fantastic.
All right. So anyway, maybe do suggest any and all movies because even Shawshank has not been seen. So please send us your suggestions, your favorite movies, things that you just want to hear three idiots talk about for an hour and a half. We would love it. So we'll start with this list. But any suggestions are welcome. You could easily get bumped to the top of the list. Um, we did get one other email from a good friend of the pod, Katie Ann. Um, she says, "Hi all, looking forward to the award show this week." Well, thank you. Now that we are moving on from Succession, this is my opportunity to force. Can I use government names there, Benny?
Sure.
Benedetto into watching Terminator 1 and or 2. Let me know. Hey, thanks, Katie Ann. Now, Benny, have you seen Terminator 1 and or 2?
I have not.
This
I
is
know.
this is incredible to me.
Right?
I'm kind
Yeah.
of shocked that we're friends.
I know, but we have other things to bond over. So
That's true. That's true. So I think Terminator's got to be up there. Robbie, have you seen both 1 and 2?
Yes, I have.
All right, thank God. So Terminator 1 and 2 added to that list. We'll decide this week and then we will watch one of those movies and I don't know, talk about it, right?
yeah.
So anything else we need to talk about before we get to the Plummies?
Well, I
If
do. Go ahead,
sorry,
Robbie. You
if I
first.
yeah, just real quick, if you see me faint, just keep on going.
I'm
It's
so
okay.
sweaty already.
So if you see me pass out and die, just it's fine. I got the emergency call ready to go on my iPhone.
So I mean, Robbie, the question I had for you, because I think maybe this is a little bit more relevant for you than Ryan, because I know he's going to rank it number 199 on his list. Have you thought at all about like where Succession ranks for you as far as like your favorite shows of all time?
I s- this is not some hot scorching take out of the oven because, and it's not because the show just ended, but it's top three, and I think it might be number one. And I base it
Really?
off, yeah, and
Wow.
I base it off of that. Like I said on the Going Great Pod, I base it off of the writing. I base it off of the acting. I don't think there was a single person that appeared on the show that was mediocre in their acting skills. Like I said to Ryan, I said, I watched The Sopranos, love The Sopranos. James Gandolfini, Edie Falco, Michael Imperioli, those guys were top notch. But there were some episodes and there were some actors like Bobby Bacala, like Meadow Soprano, like AJ Soprano that really put a damper on some of those episodes and the show overall. Breaking Bad took took a season and a half to really get going. I
Hmm.
love Breaking Bad. I love Mad Men. Mad Men could be slow at times. I absolutely love The Wire. I think The Wire is number 2 or 3 on my list. Every season was great. Season 4 was my all-time favorite. but I love everything. I don't know. I can rewatch this Succession fucking 30 times and I won't get bored of it. I just loved everything about this show. And it's not because I just watched it and I have whatever short-term memory. But it's in the top three. And as of right now, I'm gonna put it at one. As crazy
Wow.
as that sounds.
Wow, that's crazy.
Benny,
I
What about
love it
you?
though. I honestly really think it, it's hard because I have my number one and two. And my number one is The Wire. Number two is Breaking Bad. I do really understand what you're saying about Breaking Bad, like taking a while to like really kick into high gear. And off the top of my head, I could probably name 2 or 3 episodes of Breaking Bad that I could just completely do without and like didn't need. I love them for just being a part of the story, but there are times when you definitely didn't need an episode here or there. I really where I get mixed up is like here around 3. I thought Better Call Saul was fantastic. But am I putting it at number 3? Probably not. I probably would put Succession number 3, and really because I enjoyed from beginning to end. It was a complete story and there was good closure on it. There wasn't anything that I felt they left on the table. There wasn't anything that um, needed left to be said. Again, like you said, the writing amazing, the acting incredible, and just so many storylines and things that I look back on and just laugh or get anxious about. And it was just to me a great story.
I totally agree. I mean, Breaking Bad. I mean, Breaking Bad was so great when it got going. Nothing like it. And The Wire is just, I mean, so many iconic characters, so many great stories intertwined. Each year was something different, and it's still relevant. Those stories and those seasons, you know, till this day. You could put the
Yeah.
show on right now, and it's the same thing. But I respect your list, and I get it. It's
It's
great.
hard for me too because like when I think about that list, like I want to put Game of Thrones up there, but I can't. And I loved Game of like there are like eras of Game of Thrones for me. There was like the beginning when I was watching it on my iPad, like the first couple seasons because HBO didn't have an app yet on Apple TV. Then there was like when I lived at Phil's and I would meet up with you, Robbie, to watch like episodes with your mom and all that kind of stuff. And then I was in California and watching episodes there, and like there were so many times and episodes that were just epic moments, and it just hurts me so much that how the way that show ended. And I want it so badly to be up in that top 3 for me, but I don't even know if it's in like top 5 anymore for me. Ryan, what do you have any like? Obviously, it's not going to be cracking your top list, but how do you feel about it? Like, what's the impression that it left on you, or like, what do you think? Not necessarily where it ranks, but how it was as a series.
No, I mean, all the things you guys are saying are not wrong. The writing and the acting, I mean, I'd say the acting especially was top notch. Definitely up there with any of the best shows. I just felt like while I say the writing, I mean the dialogue, the storylines to me weren't great, and the characters I didn't like. And
Mhm.
I get that that's the point. Like you're not supposed to like them, but for me, I need to like somebody. Um, I I don't know. Like and that's why it loses some. Um, that's not how I want to say it, but that's why it's not cracking. The top 10 for me. It's just like I watch it, I enjoy it, but I'm just like done with it afterwards.
Do you
What are you
feel
gonna
like
say?
there was? Do you feel like there was anybody that you identified with or saw something of yourself or somebody that or like a family dynamic that was relevant to you at all, or
Not
was it
really.
all just kind of like, yeah, that's why like I mentioned early on, like there were things about Kendall that like I saw in myself or like part of my story. Maybe that's why like I latched onto it because there were like some dynamics at play that I identified with.
Right.
But if there's nothing really there for you. Like maybe that's kind of the missing ingredient for the whole thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I saw Kendall as the worst person, like just weak and annoying and spoiled. So like I definitely, you know, didn't really see much of either myself or anyone that I care about in him. I mean, I know I'm spoiled to a certain extent and I'm weak to a certain extent. Like there's things about me that are, I guess you could make the argument that are similar, but when I think of myself, I'm not like, yeah, I associate myself with Kendall because of XYZ. And I'm also not saying that you guys do either. Um, but yeah, just I felt like no connection to anybody. And like I've said before, I just thought some of the storylines kind of fell flat or felt like they were recycled, but with just different players. Um, so again, I really liked it, but not top. I'd have to like do a list, and I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'd say it might be like top 25, maybe
Damn.
maybe maybe in the top 50 somewhere. I don't know, but it's not it's definitely not top 10 or top 5. But my problem is I don't know if I have a top 5 or a top 10. I mean, The Wire is probably all the way up there, but I don't fucking I don't know. I don't like things. I mean,
You didn't, so
I
you
have
didn't
trouble like
see,
really like completely buying into something.
yeah. So you didn't see any of Carrie in yourself or
Carrie,
Marsha?
why? Because of my arm movement.
Yeah. I've been texting you for weeks about your arm movement on the podcast.
Yeah,
You just hovering them above the
yeah.
camera.
Or that I'm a gold digger.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's funny, Ben, like what you say about Kendall, because I feel like I can relate to Roman in using
Humor.
humor to diffuse, serious situations, or where he's kind of awkward in the sense that stuff comes serious, he doesn't know how to handle it, or how he's like kind of immune to like emotions or like touching or being affectionate to somebody. Like I feel like a younger version, and maybe even a version that was like a year or two ago, that was me, where I
Yeah.
was, couldn't be as affectionate. I couldn't tell people that I loved them. Yeah, so I kind of relate to that. I don't relate to him sending, dick pics in big company meetings, or
I mean, who
needing
hasn't sent
yeah,
them?
but needing a 70-year-old woman to help me, climax. But as far as the emotional parts, I can relate to him sometimes.
I accidentally sent a dick pic on a corporate call and it went up on the big screen at all hands meeting. No,
No,
I'm just joking.
I was going to say,
I don't send dick pics.
yeah, me either. There's no dicks of me anywhere, so I've never done that.
You guys are such liars.
I swear to God, I would tell you if I have a dick such.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
yeah.
I'm
Well, I don't want.
retaining Jerry as my legal counsel and I'll answer to further questions.
Yeah, ask my all questions go through my lawyer.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about this, just from a like a I guess global perspective here, in the IMDb top 250 TV shows, Succession is, what do you guys think?
6.
Robbie?
11.
48.
Burn that list. Where's their server?
I don't know. But like, okay, so you mentioned like Seinfeld, how you love to watch Seinfeld. Do you
Yeah.
think Seinfeld is a better show than Succession?
I
They're
hate
different
rank.
genres, I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah.
But
It's hard because there's like no story of Seinfeld, but like
it's the point.
if you're asking me what I would turn on right now and just like mindlessly watch, it would be Seinfeld 100 times out of 100. Like
Right.
if I'm gonna watch Succession, like I want to watch it. If I'm watching Seinfeld, it's gonna be like I'm looking up, I'm on my phone, I'm doing everything, I'm saying the lines in my head before they're being said.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I guess I would classify it as a better show just because it's like home cooking for me.
Right.
So yeah,
No. I mean, I'm just like scrolling through like Breaking Bad's number 2. Band of Brothers. You guys ever watch that?
no.
I have.
Oh, what a good show. That's number 4. Wire's number 6. Sopranos number 9. And there's a bunch of stuff like, Cosmos and things like that. Like which
What
are
was number one?
number 1 was Planet Earth 2.
I jerk my dick with that.
I know. It's kind of a cop out. It's a show, but it's not, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um but yeah, again, is this list the end all be all? No, of course not. Um, it's just based on ratings. So like you brought up Game of Thrones, that's number 13. And objectively, if that landed even decently, you could make the argument that that would be top 3 very easily. But because the last season plus maybe 2 seasons were a shit show,
Drag it down.
you can't put it there. You just can't.
What's Succession ranked on plums.com?
Oh, plums.com, number 1.
Okay, thank you.
We had to drag up a couple zeros, so we got there a bunch of 100 grade scores from us.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I mean, it's all subjective. Like plenty of people probably hate Breaking Bad, The Wire, Succession, whatever. I think generally most people would agree that these are some of the best shows ever. But hey, send us an email. Let us know. What do you think about Succession? Is it top 5, top 10, top 100? What do you think? We'd love to hear from you. ltbwpodcast@gmail.com.
What a pro.
Yeah. So should we go to the pre-show? Or is there
Let's go
anything
to-
else we should talk about? Because we're running long on time as usual.
You just
I'm
spent 40
ready.
minutes.
The champagne's on ice. There's cocktail Franks in the oven. I'm ready to go.
The best. Pigs in a blanket, the best.
I call them Frankfurters in a sleeping bag.
Thank you. See, it's Frank for the summer.
Yeah. Frank's in a sack. So Benny, the people want to know.
Yes.
What are you wearing and where you going?
Well, I'm wearing what I like to call Kendall chic. It is a fashion he's a fashion icon. I'm wearing a black suit jacket off the rack.
Nice.
With a white dress shirt, French cuff. I had to put the cufflinks on for this, which was
Nice.
Love it. Love it.
Thankfully, I started getting dressed earlier than I thought I needed to because it took me about 10 minutes to put those on. And I'm wearing a baseball hat, a blacked out baseball hat in honor of Kendall. Because just I loved his style so much, and I just felt like this was his iconic look of the series.
Oh my God. Guys, Robbie's here. Look, it's Robbie. Robbie, oh my God, what are you wearing? This is fantastic. What is this?
Well, this is a little inspiration from the god, the fit king, Stewie, last name redacted. This is Soho chic, I like to call. I have the custom suit from Bonobos. I think it's a 38 short, could be a 36 short, depending on the season. I have the Bonobos green turtleneck that I've been talking about for about 6 to 7 months.
Worth every word that you mentioned about it was worth it.
Thank you. You can find me with this outfit on, either doing ecstasy at a railroad club in an underground bunker in Brooklyn, or you can catch me, swinging corporate deals with Sandy and Sandy in the Upper West Side overlooking Central Park. Either way, I'll be high on some drugs, and there might be a couple of things up my butt. So
I love it. Fantastic. And I'm wearing the suit from my wedding.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Thanks for the invite. Hey, thanks for the invite.
You're welcome. It was during a pandemic. I couldn't invite anybody.
I wear
Was
my
that
mask.
was that also the suit you wore to Tom and Shiv's wedding?
That's correct. No, I like this suit. I have a sweet ass vest that goes with it, but it is way too hot. And as soon as we're done with this segment, I'm taking this jacket off.
Yeah.
All right.
After it's cocktail hour.
Yeah,
Hey, it's your
Come on.
Plummies too.
That's right. So should we get into the arena, to the theater, and
I think
start?
the doors are opening up. The crowd is taking their seats.
Welcome to the 2023 Plummies on
Succession.
Succession. I don't know what else to say. So
Presented by
presented by Major League Dicks.
and French's yellow mustard and Martin's potato rolls. Shout out
Oh
Martin's.
yeah. Shout out Martins.
Can I get a little intro music and we'll get this thing started?
Please.
Mhm.
Taking
Sorry.
this jacket off. 100%.
I've prepared a 14-minute monologue, so be prepared.
Hold on for a second. Let me just reach out to Hans Zimmer, see if he's around. And
Is he
then
tuning up the band?
he's got he's tuning up the bass. Let's see.
Welcome to the Plummies, featuring this Going Gray Boys, and I'm your host, Big Ben, Ken, the eldest boy. We're giving our awards for Succession. We're keeping in mind this is for the entire series. So I'd just like to thank you all for being here. I thank you all for downloading, listening to the podcast. Boys, do you have any words before we get into our first award here, Ryan?
Yeah, I just want a good, clean competition. I don't want any bullshit going on. And may the best person win.
That's right. Robbie?
This was a very, very hard, extremely hard. The hardest thing I probably ever did in my life, but I was excited to do it. So I'm happy to be here.
So I have one more question for you before we get started. Do we want to try to come to a consensus pick, or do we want to just give all of our picks and leave it at that? What do we think?
Ooh.
I think it would be too hard to come to a consensus with a lot of these things, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if someone comes up with like a great pick, we can go that way. I don't know.
All right. Well,
It's like favorite quote, like how I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that might be tough.
Yes. All right. So if you want to throw your approval towards somebody's, feel free to chime in and do that. So our first award this year is favorite season. Now there are 4 seasons, so it shouldn't have been that hard of a choice. But Robbie, let's start with you. What was your favorite season?
Ooh, this is a tough one.
Oh, Robbie was agonizing over this one. I know it.
Oh my God, this was so tough. I'm gonna have to go with season 2 as my favorite season.
Ooh.
Wow.
You have you quickly explain. You have the
Please.
hostage situation. You have Turnhaven, a fantastic episode. You have Walter, another amazing episode. You have the God, Kendall Roy, L to the OG, dude be the OG, and he playing. I think from start to finish, this is what put this show on the absolute map. Concluding with an unbelievable season finale. One of the best episodes on television ever. I don't care what anybody says. Loved it. So I'm gonna have to go with season 2. I think everybody was just amazing and definitely set the bar for the future of this show.
Great choice. Now, Ryan, I know the word favorite is going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting here when it comes to you. But what was your favorite season?
I actually also picked season 2.
Wow.
For a lot of the same
Nice.
reasons that Robbie picked. I was gonna go season 1, but I felt like while there was a lot to like in season 1, season 2 kind of like not found its footing, because season 1 had some great things. I mean, the wedding, Kendall hitting absolute rock bottom, but he hit rock bottom several times, which we know.
True.
But season
Tom
2
swallowing
kind
his
of
own cum.
That's right, Tom. Yes, exactly. Perfect. It's a closed loop system. But I like what Robbie said. It kind of like if season 1 got started a little slow, season 2 was just full out sprint, lot going on. I mean, every season had things to like, but I'm gonna go with season 2 as well.
I'll say probably one of my favorite season finale moments was the end of season 2, where Kendall tries to throw his dad under the bus.
Yeah.
And you get that, people call it the Mona Lisa smile from Logan at the end of that season.
Yep.
So my favorite season, I'm glad we gave season 1 a lot of love because that was my runner-up, but I'm going to go season 4. I think that,
Good choice.
there was a ton of expectations on this season. I think you had all that built-in story. You had Logan's death. You had the election and how closely that kind of mirrored and touched on the real world effect. I think you got like some standout performances from a lot of the B players, especially like Carl blossomed in this season. So I was very happy about that. You got a lot of like serious stuff from Connor, and you got Kendall, Jeremy Strong putting in work and just like killing it every single episode. Not to mention Kieran Culkin, not to mention Sarah Snook. Like it just goes on and on and on. Our biggest question, or my biggest question going into the season, was like, will they land the plane? How are they going to do it in just 10 episodes? But I really feel like they nailed it. And, I thought maybe there was one episode that was below like an 8.5 for me. And I just thought they completely landed the plane and knocked it out of the park in the final season.
Can I just quickly run through a few fantastic episodes from season 2?
Yes.
Walter, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
Safe Room,
Mm-hmm.
Turnhaven, Dundee, DC. This is not for tears, and Argestes. I don't even know if that's the right one. We are here for you.
Fantastic season.
But I agree with you, Benny. I mean, as well, season 4 had some epic episodes and really some great stuff. So that I was making flip floppy, as the talking heads say, between 2 and 4. But yeah, either one's
season 3 didn't get called out here at all, but I love season 3 too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see no better person to lead us off with this category. This one is worst storyline. Brian, what did you have as your worst storyline?
The entire series.
There's a lot of bad storylines in this season. The time they tried to acquire Pierce, or the second time they tried to acquire Pierce, Walter. But I'm gonna go with worst storyline is The Succession.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it? No explanation? You
The Succession.
You son of a bitch. Going great.
All right.
Canceled.
It was stupid though.
Like Tom taking over?
Kinda.
All right.
I mean, I liked it, but it was kind of stupid. Like, this guy takes over, really.
With no power, though, essentially.
Yeah,
so,
no,
like,
I
the
know.
power that everybody was fighting for.
He's kind of a figurehead. The family has lost their power, but it just was a lot of buildup for nothing.
Yeah.
They whiskey dicked us.
I kind of, in a way, feel like Mattson is the Logan Roy successor. Like, he's the one that kind of fills that role. What were you gonna say, Rob?
No, but it's like they were kind of setting you up for 4 seasons, being like, these 3 can't do it alone, and they aren't Logan, and they're just gonna self-combust, and the 3 of them, if they don't come together, are just gonna eat each other. And that's basically what happened. They just, the ego and everyone wanting to be on top and them not coming together pretty much played a huge role into why, they didn't succeed their father.
Yeah,
but hey,
it's still
your
stupid.
award.
Yeah,
it's your award.
It's your award. Hey, finish The Wire.
I did finish The Wire.
Finish Mad Men.
No, it was boring.
It was a little boring.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my worst storyline, I'm going to give to the relationship between Kendall and Naomi.
Oh, good choice.
I feel like she was there for him in like a couple of hard, low moments for Kendall, but
didn't he shit her bed?
I think that was the actresses or something.
Right, yeah.
So, I felt like, there's a couple scenes between them that kind of dealt with his addiction and her addiction and how they were parallels in some way, but it kind of started off screen and ended off screen. So there's really nothing. She popped in for the one episode in this season and they didn't really address anything. I just overall kind of fell flat for me, and it didn't really lead anywhere or move the story along.
She was there for him, like you said, Benny, after
The party.
his birthday. Yeah, and that was I thought that was a great thing. I think she was pretty much always there for him and would have been there for him, but you know, see how that goes.
I just kind of thought that there was going to be more to it. And she was just, but like with Kendall, everything kind of just comes and goes. So anyway,
That's
Robbie,
kind
what
of
was
how I
your,
felt with a lot of the stories, though. Is like, that's
yeah,
it. Okay, see you later.
yeah, they're just on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Robbie, what was your worst storyline?
Ani Mensch, the second PGN acquisition, I felt like they put so much into that episode that it went nowhere. I understand that Logan died, so they had to pivot. But something that pissed me off in the moment when I watched it was when Kendall dimes out his dad, and then season three is like, all right, nothing's happening here. Logan's back in power, and nothing's really happening. Yeah, the feds come in, but nothing really came of it. I was so excited watching that season two finale to where the show was going to go. And it basically was just nothing came out of it. And maybe that's what the point was, is that Logan's extremely powerful and that's why nothing came out of it. But I was expecting a little more, and that was disappointing to me.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So our next award is Best Filming Location. I selected the Lake Como episodes with Matson's house. I thought that those are beautiful shots. I love the Logan and Roman riding on the speedboat to Matson's crib, and Matson talking about how it was the best house in the world, and he was sleeping on like a sofa or an air mattress because he needed to find the best bed for it. But it had some great views. It's a place that I would like to visit, so I selected Lake Como. Robbie, what was your favorite filming location?
Well, Benny, I'm glad you said it. Buongiorno to you, Benny. Um,
Buongiorno.
I'm going to go with Tuscany, the wedding scenes, and as well, Lake Como. I think that was beautiful locations. I would love to visit Tuscany one day and Lake Como. And I think that the shots from Matson's house overlooking Lake Como was absolutely beautiful. And then the wedding scenes and the shots in Tuscany was magnifique, beautiful. And I hope to get there one day. So I'm going to go with that as my best filming location to the motherland.
Beautiful. Ryan.
Um, I mean, so many good ones to choose from. That was one of my favorite parts about the show is just all the different cool locations they went to. But I'm gonna go with Norway. When they in season 4, when they went to go negotiate with Matson, I'd love to get to Norway, Sweden, Finland, like one of those countries at some point in my life. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but just the mountains, the scenery, the place that they were staying was just so cool to me. So I'm gonna go with Norway.
Beautiful. You can go
Good
to
choice.
You can go to Chairman Matson's re-education camp.
That's right.
Our next award is favorite scene or moment. We ended with Ryan. So Ryan, we're gonna start this one with you.
Oh my goodness. So I'm just pulling up my note. Oh, my favorite scene or moment was when Kendall almost died.
Which time?
Exactly. I'm gonna go with the time when he got drunk and almost drowned in the pool.
Okay, awesome. Robbie, what was your favorite scene or favorite moment?
I mean, this is just how can I pick? How can I really, really pick? I think, fuck, there's so many. I'm looking at my notes. Um, I think my favorite scene is probably the bear hug scene in season one. I think the anticipation, Kendall getting stuck in traffic, them just freaking out, running in there, Logan just sitting there and not leaving. The fantastic line he says, "You better be smelling your armpit, Romulus." LOL, funny. Him just fucking asserting his dominance. It was the pivotal scene and the pivotal episode that really, I think, made everybody stop and say, "Okay, this is a great show." A couple episodes in the first season were a little hit or miss. Maybe I loved them, but as a whole, I think the episode 6, the bear hug scene, really, the episode as a whole really put Succession on the map. But there's so many, it's so tough, and I'll probably get chewed out by my family for picking this one because there's so many, but that's what I picked.
It just set you up too for that, like, no matter what happens, Logan's gonna find a way to
Mhm.
do it. And we just saw that replayed throughout the whole entire series. My favorite scene was, so I'll give you the excuse me, started my words. I'll give you the runner up. It was the end of season 2 with the Kendall betrayal. With a quick little sidebar shout out to Tom eating the chicken and Logan just being like, what the fuck? But my winner for favorite scene or moment was, again, I mentioned this one earlier as well, the boardroom fight scene in the series finale. I loved it. I gushed over it in the last episode. I am the eldest boy, Kendall with his hands on Roman's face and them all just freaking out, and Kendall just desperately flailing to do anything he could to get the vote back from Shiv. I just thought it was, I keep thinking about that scene, and it was maybe a little recency bias there, but I loved it.
Yeah, can I give you a couple Ani mentions
Please.
if you don't mind? Some of my favorite scenes: Bore on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Kendall giving up Logan, Kendall performing L to the OG,
Oh, so good.
Tom swallowing his own cum,
Yep.
Tom and Shiv balcony fight,
Yep.
the Senate hearing, the dinner scene in Turnhaven, and in episode 10, like you were saying, Benny, the Norway mountain scene, and the wasabi incident.
Nice.
It was just some
One
no,
of
go
my
ahead.
honorable mentions was going to be Tom making Nate pour the wine back into the bottles when he
It's
gives
a
him
good
out
one.
a wedding.
Yeah.
And also in that episode too, when Stewie meets Caroline, Shiv's mom, and she's like, "How long do you think it's gonna last?" And he's like, forever, or until Shiv goes away for the week, whichever happens first."
Yeah.
And she like loves that answer.
I also loved the when Tom was insulting Greg's not girlfriend's bag.
Yeah, the
What a scene.
ludicrously capacious bag.
It's a
Yep.
great one.
Okay, our next award is favorite episode. Robbie, what was your favorite episode?
Well, Benny, again, I'm glad you asked. My favorite episode of all time in the series is from season 2, episode 10. This is not for tears. This is an amazing episode from start to finish. Probably in the top 2 of my favorite episodes. Obviously, it's my fucking number 1. I just put it there. Um, but it's Roman returning from his hostage crisis. Um, Tom eating Logan's chicken.
Yep.
Tom and Shiv in on the beach with that beautifully freaking killer line. Let me see. I wonder if the sad I'd be without you would be less than the sad I get from being with you, which is an absolute destroyer. Logan telling Kendall, you're not a killer and you have to be a killer. When they're all sitting around, each kind of just picking who should be the one that's going to go to jail or give, or
Yeah.
and it's just they're just Jerry and then Carl and then what's his name, Roman, saying we how about some Tom with some Greg sprinkles. And Greg,
Not a sprinkle.
I'm not a sprinkle, more than a sprinkle. But it's just, and then that final fucking smirk, like you said before, Benny, earlier on, from Logan is just chef's kiss. Amazing episode from start to finish, and you thought was going to set you up for the demise of Logan, but
Yeah.
But it just went away.
yeah, goodbye.
Ryan, what was your favorite episode? And don't say the last one just because it ended.
No. I actually had 2, and I had a tough time picking. I think I'm gonna go with episode 3 this season, Logan's death. Just because of how monumental that was to the series. He was such a big character, and how they treated it, instead of it being like typical Hollywood, like he dies in a pose or saying like "Shivy, I love you" or like some
Yeah.
stupid shit.
One
He
final fuck off as he's having a heart attack.
Yeah, he died in a toilet and they spent like 20 minutes trying to resuscitate him and it didn't happen. So I just loved how they did that. But my close runner up was Retired Janitors of Idaho. I did really enjoy that whole scene with the shareholders and Logan just apparently not taking his UTI medicine, which was news to me that you could fuck your brain up for that. But it was just it was a good episode. I enjoyed it.
I was watching a couple scenes from that episode today too. That's a
Good
sleeper
one.
one. I like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
I
that's
like
a
that
great
pick.
one.
So I'll give you my runner up again because I couldn't. It took me probably until 5 minutes ago to really decide. But I'm gonna say my runner up was season 3, episode 10. All the bells say. You get the Tom betrayal, you get the Kendall, Shiv, and Roman moment where he confesses. That he killed the kid. I just thought it was great, and it really set us up for, the amazing season 4. But my winner, and we're gonna have our first agreement here. I'm gonna say it's season 4, episode 3, Connor's wedding, the death of Logan Roy. I just thought it was, Robbie mentions about getting anxiety from some of this stuff. I was edge of my seat that whole episode. I'll never forget watching that episode. I just thought it was incredible from start to finish.
That would be my runner up. So yeah, great choice. Great episode, fantastic choice.
Okay, our next award is favorite character. I'll go first here. I went back and forth on a few, but ultimately I felt like the only answer here was Logan Roy. The man was the center of the universe of the show. He, I don't want to say stole every scene that he was in because he was so often a focal point, but he had just such a presence, and he was what everything revolved around on this show. And when he was gone, you felt it. And I just loved all the stuff that he was in, all the insults that he threw, and just how he always ended up finding a way to come out on top. Let's go to, who did I go to last time? Me. Let's go with Robbie. Robbie, who's your favorite character?
My favorite character is a shocker. It is Tom Wamsgam.
Okay.
Oh,
I love Tom. I love Tom in the beginning and throughout the series for his comedic timing, the way he would always put down Greg. I felt bad for him, the way Shiv kind of handled him in the beginning of the series. I felt bad for that relationship. I loved how comfortable he was in his own skin to just own up to swallowing his own cum. Thought that was great. But I just love how he progressed, right? How he constantly progressed through the series. Yeah, he was there for that comedy between him and Greg. He took whatever he had to take from Shiv, but he constantly progressed, as you saw from when he kind of stood up to Shiv on the beach, and then when he ate Logan's chicken wing, and then even when he met up with Kendall, and Kendall wanted him to get on his side, and you could see the wheel spinning in Tom's head saying, I've never seen your dad get fucked. And then the ultimate betrayal, betraying his wife in season 3, episode 9, the season finale. I just thought, and even season 4, he just came into his own, and he played the game. Yeah, he's a big fucking brown nose, is sucking the biggest stick in a room, but it ultimately paid off for him. I know he's going to be a little sheep for Matson, but I just love everything about Tom. I thought Tom, the actor that portrayed Tom was just top notch the entire series, and the comedic value that he brought was top notch.
Good choice. Ryan, favorite character.
yeah, agree with both of you because they were my top two. I think I'm gonna have to go with Logan though, just for, I don't know. He was just, Tom at times kind of bothered me in that it was like, well, is Tom, the funny guy? Is he the strong guy? Is he the weak guy? But Logan was consistent throughout. He was the strong guy, so that's why I went with Logan. He was perfect character.
And if he were here to accept his award, I'm sure he would greet us all with a hearty
Fuck off.
Fuck
fuck
off.
off. Our next category, and who better to be the first man to tell us who his winner is? The category is best dressed. Robbie, you have the floor.
Oh, I mean, this was not a tough choice at all. Once I saw the award, the man who came to my mind immediately was Stewie, the fucking most handsomest man on television. If I was to wear underwear, I would have to change my underwear every time Stewie came on the screen. I mean, you want to get me going, you want to get my loins rocking, just wear a turtleneck, just wear no socks, maybe even a little toothpick. The toothpick gets me going all the time. Stewie, every scene Stewie was in, beautiful, purple. He got purple, he had green. It was just amazing. So my best dressed, and there's no Ani Mensch. There's no Ani Mensch. There's no runner up. It's just Stewie. It's the fit king, the fit god. Stewie, last name redacted for me.
Fantastic choice. Our next, excuse me, the next person to present their award is going to be Ryan. Ryan, who was your best dressed?
I mean, I agree with Robbie. I knew he was gonna pick Stewie. So I figured I'd go with someone else. Um, and I picked Connor actually
Nice.
because
He was in the running for me.
yeah, I loved his he was like when you think of classic rich people clothes, that's how he dressed. Now I know, there was a lot of classic rich people clothes in this show, but like the suits, the three-piece suits, like very like I'd say like English inspired. Um, especially I'm thinking the suit on their engagement party, where he had the vest under it, loved it. So I'm gonna go Connor. Plus, just his by the end of the series, his fucking flow, the beard looked fantastic. Good for him.
Man, handsome man.
Yeah.
My pick was a little controversial, I may feel, but I think if you go back and look, you'll appreciate the fits. I'm gonna go with Roman as my
Nice.
best dressed.
Nice.
I feel like everything he had was like perfectly tailored to his body type, and
Okay.
he definitely didn't go out there and take any crazy risks, but he always just had the best suits in my opinion. He always mixed it up with the colors underneath the jacket. He didn't always go with the plain white like Kendall did. I feel like Kendall was in the running for me too, but he had a lot of misses, you know, underdressed a lot of the time, if you ask me. But
Put
my
the bomber
choice,
jacket. That was nice.
I know. You know what? Kendall would have shot up everybody. Excuse me, Roman would have shot up everybody's list if he did accept that jacket, I
Oh
think.
yeah.
True.
All right. Our next, I think this is going to be unanimous one, guys. Our next award is favorite presidential candidate. Ryan, who is your favorite presidential candidate?
I thought about, being the third in the punch bowl here and picking Jimenez, but I can't disrespect my boy. Connor, you are the best presidential candidate. Please run in 2024 for real in this
Yes.
country.
Well, we're going to go 2 for 2 here. And I just really wanted to give our boy his roses right here. So my award also goes to Conor Roy. Robbie.
Well, my favorite presidential candidate is Jared Mencken. I am I'm a huge fascist, and I wish I was at the Capitol on January 6th. No, there's only one man. We're all in agreement. It's a clean sweep here. It's Conor Roy. What was the slogan again?
I don't
Enough
remember.
already.
What?
Enough already.
I mean, what's better than that? The Conheads unite.
Was that really his slogan?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is the best. That is the best
It's so
slogan
funny
I've ever
coming
heard in
from
my whole life.
a billionaire.
Yeah,
You're the
right.
best.
Yeah, someone who's put up with so much, problems and issues in their life. Enough already. I've had enough.
Oh God.
All right. Let's keep the good times rolling, and we're gonna go with best B player. Robbie, who is your best B player?
I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it. I'll give him my runner-up. I love Carl, Cable King, Cable God, Internet Wizard. I loved him for the comedic value, but for my best B plot, I'm gonna have to go with Jerry. I love Jerry. Everything about Jerry is, spoke to me. How she handled everything. I think she was the most fit person to be CEO. I thought she knew everything. I thought she took Roman's abuse and played with it a little bit. Took the dick pic in stride. Finally had enough. But I think every time Jerry was on the screen, you knew that this person was a serious person and meant business and was extremely smart. I thought she was probably besides Logan, I think she was probably the smartest person in the room. Um, I just loved everything about Jerry, and I want to give Jerry her flowers, and I hope she has a nice job with Wamsgan and Matson at the moment.
Beautiful. Ryan.
Beautiful. I don't know who Benny picked, but could we possibly have another unanimous decision? Because I also picked Jerry for a lot of the same reasons that Robbie went with. So my choice is Jerry. There was a couple other ones that I thought, but she just, she would come on the screen and like Robbie said, it was business time with Grace, with just an amazing person. I'm glad she got all those millions of dollars for having to look at Roman's, I would assume, unimpressive dick.
So we almost had a unanimous decision, and what threw me off of Jerry was her kind of weak showing in season 4. I feel like they didn't do enough with her in season 4. I wanted more Jerry. So I was trying to get away from the meme pick here, but I did go with Carl. He was so good in season 4. All the quotes he had, and there's sleeper quotes throughout the series from Carl. Yeah, for me it was Carl the whole time.
That's a good choice. I mean,
Yeah, good choice.
I can't disagree. The guy's the best.
Okay, our next another great award category here is the best Connor quote. Robbie, do you want to start us off with the best Connor quote?
Oh my God, of course. Um, I've so many, so many. I have about 6 or 7 right here on my bullet point. But I'm gonna go. My favorite quote comes from season 2, episode 5 in Turnhaven at the dinner scene, where him and Maxim are talking, and Maxim goes, "Can you name me one member of the House Congress Committee?" And Connor goes, "Oh, yeah, I think I know one. Representative Ferdinand D. Who gives a shit from the great state of no one fucking cares."
Amazing. Amazing. I'm gonna go with season 2 episode. I don't know why. I mean, it's not as funny as that, but I always think about it, and I always want to say it. Anytime someone brings out wine. Season 2, episode 3, he says, "You don't hyper decant. You're just doing regular decanting." When he's talking about blending his wine to hyper decant it. I don't know why, but that to me was just Connor in a nutshell, of him like latching on to some fad and like acting like if you don't do it, you're a fool. So yeah, Connor, shout out, boy.
I had it
Ryan,
there. I had it on my list too.
did you? All
Yeah, I
right,
did.
awesome.
It's a good one.
Ryan, what was your best Connor quote?
So it was almost "Alas, Kentucky, alas, victory,"
Nice.
which I love that quote. But I actually went with, it's kind of a greeting card from hell. It's a Times New Roman firing squad, and not because it was the funniest, but I just loved it. It's just such a good way to, and that's what a lot of times what Succession did so well that I did like is their wordplay. It we talked about this a long time ago, but it reminds me so much of a serious Arrested Development.
Yeah.
Real quick.
I
So, oh, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Benny. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say my was also in the running for me, but I did want to go a little something funnier. Was the I don't have the quote in front of me, but in that, I guess it was episode 2 of season 4 when he has that kind of heartfelt speech to the siblings, and he talks about how he was a plant that grew out of the rocks. I
Yeah.
love that moment from Connor. Ryan, excuse me, Robbie,
I'm gonna give you a couple Ani mentions because there's so many.
please.
This one comes from season one when he's organizing the dinner party, the big dinner party, and he says, "The butter is too cold. The butter's all fucked. You're fuckwads, and you fucked it. There's dinner rolls ripping out there as we speak."
And then he
Another,
comes back in at the end, and he's like, "You beautiful people."
We did
Oh,
hey, if you want to put something in your little book, you may print the following line.
yes.
Connor Roy was interested in politics at a very young age. And then his little YouTube video, Ding Dong, who's there? Uncle Sam. And where's his hand? In my pants.
it.
And then the all-time great from season 4. Organize a little coup down in old Peru. Put me in a van to Tajikistan. Could I just be our fun guy in Uruguay?
Standing ovation. Thank you so
Please.
much for those.
Guy's the best.
All right. So another great category here. Funniest line. I had a bunch that I'm gonna leave for my Ani mentions at the end. But I will give one runner up here. It was from Logan Roy. Romulus, when you're laughing, please do it at the same volume as everyone else. We can get you from a hyena farm.
Yeah.
But the goat is coming back for my funniest line. And it's just because of the whole situation. And it's full disclosure. I am currently having a panic attack. And that's from Carl Muller when they're taken hostage and Roman starts the fuck, marry, kill. Ryan, what was your funniest line?
I had two that I picked out, and it was difficult because there was a lot of good. Each episode, I would say, had at least one, and you're like, wow, that's good. But I loved. We mentioned it already, but the whole sequence of Connor going up to Tom, be like, hey, I just swallowed your own cum, and then Tom being like, yeah, well, I feel okay about it because I didn't cheat on Shiv because my semen's in my own body. It's a closed loop. I'm messing up the quote, but
Yeah.
that was a good sequence. And then I really loved Greg's line in season 4 when he said, "It's like if Jaws, or it's like Jaws if everyone in Jaws worked for Jaws." I just loved that because it was so perfect. And also, Benny, have you seen Jaws?
I have not seen Jaws.
Robbie,
No.
you fucks. All right,
Put it on the list. All right, Robbie, what was your funniest line?
All right, I'm gonna go to a couple Ani mentions here. Um, this one comes from Tom, I think at his bachelor party when he says to Greg, "Buckle up, fucklehead." Greg from the Senate hearing, yes, if it is to be said, so it be, so it is.
I merely wish to answer in the affirmative fashion.
Gil, rereading Tom's email to Greg. You can't make a Tomlet without breaking some Gregs. Tom again, from season 4, Bodega Sushi. Are you insane? And then my favorite, my funniest line is from Logan, season 2, episode 10. He ate my fucking chicken. What's next? Stick his cock in my potato salad?
I almost put that on the list. So good.
A good one.
Oh, fantastic. I have a couple more that I'm going to fire off at the end of the episode. I love this category because it was fun to go through some of the funniest moments there.
I got one more that I just want to
please.
mention before we move on. Maybe two more. And they're both from Kendall. And I don't think they were intentionally supposed to be funny, but bangers only. I mean,
Yeah.
what a
The
line.
best.
And then just the whole L to the OG. Also amazing.
Do yourself a favor, look up those lyrics. They're fire.
Fire.
All right. Our next award is the best double cross. Ryan, what was your best double cross?
Oh, Kendall failed all of his double crosses. So while I thought about some of those, I got to go with Tom. Double crossing to getting good with Logan. Um, it clearly, I mean, it didn't obviously directly put him in the driver's seat to become CEO, but it got him in there, it got him in the inner circle. It allowed him to, be up there, and then Matson saw that, and Shiv kind of said some things like he'll suck big dicks and all that other fun stuff. But yeah, I think Tom's double cross was my favorite.
Robbie, what was your best double cross?
Surprise, surprise. Mine was Tom double crossing Shiv and the family in the season finale of episode season 3. I thought that was something I did not see coming at all. I thought it was great. I thought unexpected, and you see it on Shiv's face because she just was never expecting Tom to do that. She just thought Tom was going to be like her little lapdog, and to see him do that really just shocked her. And yeah, even though like Benny said or Ryan said, it didn't propel him, to CEO or anything like that, but it got him in the inner circle, and basically you saw who Tom really was in that moment.
Well, we're going to make it a clean sweep. And mostly because I felt like that was a true double cross. Like he was giving Shiv advice. He was listening to Shiv. He was hearing her out. I thought they built up to that moment so well throughout the whole entire season. So yeah, for me, it's Tom at the end of season 3. And special shout out to the look on Shiv's face when when Tom puts his hand on her shoulder and she's just like looking out like in utter disbelief.
Yeah,
All right,
so
shout out
true.
Tom. All right, we're getting into the big ones here. The next one we have is best actor. Robbie, who was the best actor?
My best actor for this entire series goes to Roman Roy.
Wow.
Um, I think the evolution of Roman from season 1 to season 4 was, you know, unbelievable. I There were so many, times where I just hated him and I hated his guts in the first few seasons, like what he did on the baseball field to that kid, or how he could have given a shit for basically blowing up an entire rocket and almost killing everybody, to electing a fascist president, allegedly. But he just evolved. You really saw a broken person, but you also saw somebody who at times had compassion, at times truly loved his siblings, and sometimes wanted to do the right thing. I think that ending shot of him finally being at peace and smiling and enjoying his martini was the closest thing to we got somebody winning in this series. His acting on top of the mountain in Norway, I loved. His acting in Connor's wedding was fantastic, but what really put me over the top for him was just the eulogy scene at the funeral. I mean, the week before, I wanted to kill him and I wrote him off. And, in that episode, I'm over there almost freaking in tears because of what he was doing and how he was portraying it, and how he, and all that emotion he brought finally after 30 plus years of probably holding it in, everything he has been through, um, from being locked in dog cages to basically being abused by his dad. I just thought the evolution of his character was the best in the series. And I think it was, I mean, Kendall, obviously, but I just love the way Kieran Culkin acted. And I loved what he brought to the character, improvisation and all the funny lines. I mean, he made me laugh probably more than anybody in this show.
I love it. I'm gonna go with Jeremy Strong. I mean, I feel like it's an easy pick, but I mentioned it a few times that just the amount of emotions and things that he can play in one episode was just incredible to me. Like there's like moments, like, just thinking about like the Living Plus episode where he has that like poor Kendall moment with the cloud when he knows he's not going to get the cloud. He's got the serious, the serious moments. He's got giving the keynote about Living Plus. He was just on point. I feel like, floating in the ocean at the end of that episode. There's just always so much to his performance, and I know a lot of stuff gets thrown at him because of his, method style, or kind of roundabout method style. But I thought, any awards he's won or will win for this show are well deserved. Ryan, who was your best actor?
I'm gonna agree with Robbie and say that it was Kieran Culkin for his portrayal of Roman. I've loved Kieran Culkin since Home Alone. Benny, have you seen Home Alone?
I've seen Home Alone.
All right. He was in Home Alone, Home Alone 2, Father of the Bride, She's All That, all classics. I loved him in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I'm sure neither one of you have seen that. But his portrayal of Roman was so good. I mean, like Robbie said, you hated him one episode, and the next you felt bad for him. He had a number of good lines. There's so much that we never really found out about Roman, like what some of his issues were, or whatever. But he just played it so well. That yeah, I got to give it to him.
All right. Best actress is our next award. And I'm going to go with, I mean, again, another easy pick for me is Sarah Snook. I mean, we talked about the amount of times she just acted with her face and got so much across. I just mentioned episode 9 of season 3, the end, where she just has that look on her face. I think about the moment in America Decides where Kendall's finding out that she didn't call Nate, and just like the, oh fuck, I got found out face that she made. The acting that she had in Connor's wedding, she was just fantastic. I truly, truly hated her as a character. And, that's just a big shout out to her making you feel those things about her character. Ryan, who is your favorite actress?
I gotta agree with you and say that it was Sarah Snook. For all the things you said, but she was perfect in this role. Either you hated her, sometimes you felt bad for her. I mean, I think I was the most sympathetic, or I liked her the most of us three. But she still did a lot of shitty things. But her, just the way she could, you know, use facial expressions, just her eyes, like everything she did was perfect. So that's why I went with Sarah Snook.
Ryan, excuse me, Robbie. There's no teleprompter here, folks. So doing this off the top of my head.
Teleprompter
Robbie.
went down. Yeah, same thing. Sarah Snook, Shiv, from her facial expressions to her, snaps at Tom. I know I got down on her as Shiv as the person a lot, and I wasn't a fan, but just an amazing actress. And I mean, you guys said it all. I think the thing I love about Shiv and Sarah Snook is just the facial expressions. She doesn't have to say a goddamn thing. You know exactly what she's thinking in that moment. I love it. And like Benny said, my favorite scene of hers, I think, is when Tom puts her hand on her shoulder, and you could just see by her facial expressions, like, this motherfucker. And no, great.
She's almost like disgusted, shocked. Like there's so many things on her face in that moment. She like doesn't even know what to do.
Yeah, and I feel like that's the hardest thing. I mean, I'm not an actor, but I feel like that's the hardest thing about being an actor, like just the facial expressions. And if you nail those facial expressions, like I said, you don't even have to say a fucking word. Everybody knows what you're thinking in that moment. So I think she delivered on every scene. And yeah, Shiv, what a great portrayal of Shiv Roy.
Clean sweep for Sarah Snook. Congratulations.
And that is.
Our final 2 awards are a nod to our everly popular and fastest growing games that we've played at the end of every episode, but this is going to be a series long achievement. And the first one is the Logan Roy Memorial Most serious person award of the week, of the year, of the series. And you know what? Since he was our gracious host through all episodes of this season and this series, Ryan, you could start us off. Who was your most serious person?
Well, it was kind of tough to pick this one, but in the end, it wasn't that tough. I went with Tom because he eventually was, even though we kind of debated like maybe he may be a little bit of a figurehead or kind of a puppet for Matson. He did technically win the coveted prize of CEO of Waystar. So I got to give the most serious person to Tom for playing the game and getting in there and being what he needed to be, sucking that biggest dick in that room.
Tom's having an impressive showing at the Plummies here. Robbie, who is your Logan Roy Memorial Most Serious Person Award go to?
Well, buddy, my Logan Roy Memorial Most Serious Person of the series is Logan Roy. The man was feared. The man was smart. The man was an animal. The man was ruthless. The man was an abuser. The man was abused. He, at an early age, kind of was set up to be this person. I feel like with what he went through, like on the boat and, being blamed for his sister's death and all that. Man was feared. Every single room he was in, he commanded, basically got people elected, fudged the news, was the news. He was Teflon, man. Everything that came up against him, he beat. And the only thing that couldn't beat him was death. And obviously death beats all of us. But everything that he did, he came out on top. And, everybody took him as a serious person, unlike his siblings. But I mean, the presence on screen, the fuck offs, just how crude and nasty he was. The man never lost. And, like I said again, he always came out on top. So for the entire series, that's just who he was. And he beat everything in front of him. So he's my most serious person of the series.
Well, we're in agreement because my Logan Roy Memorial Most Serious Person of the series is also Logan Roy. Obviously he's not there for the last 7 episodes of the season, but look at the empire that he built. Look at, every time, who said it best, if not Omar, come at the king, you best not miss. And Kendall and the siblings and everybody else came at him multiple times, and they couldn't get the job done. And he stayed winning. He was catching dubs all over the place, caught a few dubs from the grave, as we talked about, on over the course of the show. But he, and at the end of the day, he knew what was best for the company. He knew that the kids weren't up for it. Whether or not that was his fault that they weren't ready for it is another thing. But, he knew that the company wouldn't have been in good hands if he turned it over to any of them. He held on until the bitter end, and he is my most serious person of the series.
Love it.
Our last award, and it's fitting that we go with this one because this is the biggest shit show at the fuck factory of the series. I'll start this one off. My biggest shit show at the fuck factory is Roman Roy. Constantly fucking up, constantly dealing with emotional issues, constantly dealing with abuse, constantly not being able to have real relationships or real emotions with people. Even though I felt like he showed a little bit of progression in the last season, he is left kind of alone at the end. I know that we think that he got this happy ending, and I think that he had a lot of weight off of his shoulder, but really what's next for him? He's maybe gonna just become an alcoholic. I don't know. Like, I don't know what is next for Roman. He has no experience in anything really. He's, alienated himself from his siblings, most likely. He alienated himself from Jerry. So there's no real route for him back into the company. I don't know what's next for Roman. He's clearly got a lot of issues that he needs to work with, and I don't work through, and I don't know if he ever will. Robbie, who is your biggest shit show at the fuck factory?
My biggest shit show at the Fuck Factory is Kendall Roy. Kendall is a broken man, a man that is could be potentially on the verge of suicide after losing the only thing that he thought he could do for his entire life. I think he was never taken seriously the entire series. I think he caught L after L after L. I think the Volta guy thought he was a joke. He caught the L trying to bear hug his father. He caught it again. He caught it again when he killed that guy. He got, that kind of screwed him up from kind of going after his dad. Caught the L again after he dimed his dad out in that press conference. Nothing came about it. He was a broken man in season 3 until the end of the season when he finally confessed to killing a guy. He thought he was on top in season 4, only to be, taken out by Shiv. So I think that, I love Jeremy Strong's portrayal of Kendall. Kendall was a great character, but as far as being a shit show, I mean, you could talk about Roman and everybody, but this guy's just broken. You don't even know what's going to happen to him next. He could very well, like we said, probably kill himself. He has nothing left. I mean, I know you got a couple billion in the bank, but he was destined for this role, like you said, in the boardroom with his siblings. And where does he go next? That's the big question. He's the biggest loser. I feel like he has nothing to live for. He's a terrible father. His family's gone, and he has no real relationships with anybody. Nobody takes him seriously. And they're not going to take him seriously now after he lost the company.
Yeah, I agree. And that felt like the obvious pick for me. And what swung it the way of Roman for me was that, like, I really didn't know what was next for Roman. Like, what the hell is this guy going to do? Whereas Kendall, I think, ultimately has nothing left and kills himself. I could also see him picking himself back up and, starting the next Economist meets Facebook meets, ShopRite.com,
So
and tries to gin something up that way. So that's why I ended up swinging to Roman in the end. But, I completely agree with you. Ryan, who was your biggest shit show at the Fuck Factory?
Yeah, I mean, I was between both Roman and Kendall as well. I think you're probably right, Benny, with Kendall in that he probably doesn't kill himself and starts up some stupid thing. My guess for Roman is that he probably someone takes advantage, some snake oil salesman takes advantage of his money and bleeds him dry a little bit or something. I don't know, but my biggest shit show at the Fuck Factory has got to be Kendall. I hated his guts since fucking episode 1. I hated his guts every episode since, and he caught the most losses of anyone. He kept trying. He would win a little bit and come crashing down so many times. And losing the company hit him the hardest. Like we said, Roman, what's next for him? Probably nothing. Who knows? But it seemed like he was at least in the moment content with having that weight off his shoulders, whereas Kendall was looking to jump into the fucking water. Good thing Colin is right there behind him.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for our main awards. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for the Plummies. Before we go, though, I added a little extra here called the Ani Mentions. So it's just, if you had any scenes you wanted to call out, if you had any lines or episodes or anything you wanted to call out here, it's an open floor. I'll start by saying I want to give a huge shout out to Nicholas Britell for the music of the series. I probably spent a lot of the last week since the finale listening to the soundtracks and going through some of them, and just fantastic work. So shout out to Nicholas Britell.
love it. That's a good one.
Yeah, great shout out. Robbie, you have anything?
I got a couple Ani mentions, a couple of awards.
Please go ahead, because I
This is
got
the-
nothing.
Now this is the Gone but Never Forgotten Award. This is for people who showed up and were never seen again. And my Gone but Never Forgotten Award goes to the Fly Guys.
Good one.
Whatever happened to the Fly Guys after they went to Tom's bachelor party? I mean, they were never seen again.
I was like, who are the Fly Guys?
Yeah. Just
Love
left
that.
them outside on the fucking train tracks.
Yeah, it's the fucking Fly Guys, man. They flew in from the Midwest to hang out with Tom, and they just wanted to go to freaking Prague, and they never were seen again.
It's ridiculous.
I hope Tom gives him a seat on
On the board.
the board. And then my last one is best acting by a non-human, and that goes to the fake cat that they had to put in a bag for Logan in the retired
Nice.
janitors of Idaho episode, which was an all-time fucking LOL.
Well, I do have late breaking news that I'm
Oh
getting
my
in.
goodness.
We're adding one more award,
Love
and
Okay.
it's best good boy. And by unanimous vote, it has gone to Mondale. So Mondale,
Love it.
congratulations on your award.
Thank
I have
God.
I have a couple of quotes I wanted to throw in that I didn't want to clog up the awards with, but I think an all-time classic is I am interested in becoming a meth head. Also, so I just wanted to get the gang together early. My tenure to say, yo.
Oh man.
And then another one of my absolute favorites is the negative case would go, you're a clumsy interloper and no one
Oh,
trusts you. The only guy pulling for you is dead. And now you're just married to the ex-boss's daughter. And she doesn't even like you. And you are fair and squarely fucked. From
love it.
Carl Muller.
Oh, Carl, the best.
I bet Tom thinks about that quote while he's sitting in the big boy seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's the interloper now, motherfucker?
Yeah, because he got and you remember that because Carl was the first one to get the axe.
Yeah.
All right. So, any other Ani mentions before we sign off of Succession for good?
Sad day.
Yeah, sure is.
Well, congratulations to all of our winners. This is your host of the Plummies signing off our coverage of the Plummies.
Great hosting job, Ben.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
Benny.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for listening this far. Hope you guys liked it. If you have any awards that you think we got wrong, please send us your, nominees or your winners. Or if you have any awards that we missed, please let us know. LTBW podcast at gmail.com. And like we said before, we're going to pivot here and start talking about movies. So again, if you have movies that you want us to watch and talk about, you can almost guarantee that Benny has never seen it and probably Robbie as well. So send us an email, let us know. We would love suggestions. We have a bunch to talk about already, but the more the merrier. You guys want to add anything before we let the people go?
I'm excited. I'm excited to get my movie game up and finally be able to tell people I've seen some of the movies that they love.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to finally have a reason to watch something.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna have to rewatch a lot of shit.
Sorry.
Nah, it's fine. Most of those I probably would rewatch anyway.
I can't wait.
So again, thank you. Hope you guys liked the Succession coverage. We'll also any big shows we'll be back to do something like this as well. Maybe the next season of House of the Dragon, or I don't know anything else. But we love you, Robbie. Tell him good night.
Good night, Carl. If your hands are clean, it's only because your whorehouse also does manicures.
Guess who just didn't kill anyone, but maybe only lost a couple of thumbs? This guy.
Love it. Good night, everybody.
Signing off from the Plummies.